Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Out of Left Field podcast. And we are here recording again on a Thursday night, Friday morning. I am here with Jonathan. Hello, Jonathan. How are you?
Hey Kevin, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. We we have some breaking news, and well, I that's such a new term. We have news. It's not breaking news. It's news. We have social media, don't we?
We do. So we are on Facebook, out of left field. We have a page there, and the newest thing up on Thursday morning, and this episode will be dropping on Friday, so it's been up for a day now. Is we are on X. You can find us at Outa. Our handle is at Outa LF Pod. So OUTTA LF Pod. It's the Out of Left Field podcast, and that's where we'll be dropping our episodes once a week. And as we build it out and kind of gain momentum, hopefully we'll be dropping other content and highlights and such. But that's probably the easiest way for you to get to us, out of left field on Facebook and out of left field podcast on X. And we'll have our links to our YouTube video episodes as well as our audio episodes on Spreaker. So yeah, that's exciting. Follow us on there, engage with us on there. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes, and that's Jonathan did all that work. So thank you to Jonathan for that. Like us. One of the challenges we're going to have to deal with going forward is if you go onto Apple and type in out of left field, there's a lot of out of left field. But we're going to have to, we may have to figure something out around that, but that's okay. It's what we call building. We're building.
Exactly.
So like us, rate if you see us on the Apples and the Spotify's, rate us. There's a lot of things we're still building, but we're new to the we're not new to podcasting, but we're a new podcast and we're kind of building this. So it's thank you for listening, and we thank you for support. One of the things we're going to touch on major leagues. Of course, we're going to talk Mariners. We're going to talk Blue Jays. There's a lot, by the way, both of us have to talk about this week on that part. But also, we're going to spend one of the things that we want to focus on is on as well Canadian baseball, Western Canadian Baseball League, the minor leagues of baseball in Canada as well, which doesn't get a lot of press. So we'll bring that to the forefront as well as we go through with this. But Jonathan, how was your week?
Yeah, it was good. Couple of Blue Jays wins helped. That was different. That was good. And we'll get into it here shortly. But I just finished watching the Sources Tell Jeff Passan podcast episode with Dave Roberts and John Schneider talking through the World Series from last November. So that was really interesting. But yeah, it's been a fun week.
I need to listen to that one. I want to listen and watch that one. I'm going to be very fascinated. That is, I'm a big Jeff Passan fan. I think he does some of the best baseball work out there. So I'm really going to be intrigued. There is one coming out. I think next week is Cal Raleigh. He's doing an interview with Cal Raleigh. So that would be interesting as well. So. I think next week I'm going to try to listen and we'll talk a little bit more we'll spend some time on that World Series because I think that World Series was fascinating because for so many reasons, because there was so, like, you get a lot of people that think baseball is boring, and for those that think baseball is boring, I always tell people watch the playoffs, because they're not. It's
Yeah.
the most strategic time to watch baseball because there's so many decisions, and you know, um, as Mariner fans, we were raging and frustrated about the decision about who they put in and the bot put it how they used their relief in Game 7. I think that there's a conversation about relief right now in Toronto in terms of strategy, but there's a lot of base running questions and a lot of other things as well. And that there was so much going on. That was, I'm looking forward to that, listening to that podcast. So don't spoil anything for me on this
All
one.
right. Sounds good.
We have to start. We're going to start where we kind of left off last week. Last week, Mayor Ken Sim in Vancouver, Mayor Ken Sim opened up the possibility of bidding for a major league franchise. And council approved that on Wednesday night. They have approved the bidding process. Again, I think we need to really clarify this. This is Vancouver is bidding, is going exploring, essentially exploring the process of bidding for a major league team. It's been approved. That's kind of the step here. I think that's I think the important thing is they're not getting a major league team. They're not out to get a major. They haven't submitted anything. There's no money that has been in place. I mean, there's a conversation around who's going to own this team and where this is all going. But council has approved basically the bidding process here. So I think that's, correct me if I'm wrong, Jonathan. I feel that maybe this is here where I am in Vancouver, but I feel that this has been met with a lot of cynicism. Am I off base feeling that way?
Oh, sorry, come again?
This whole process of the potential of Vancouver bidding for an MLB team has been met with a lot of cynicism. I think in some ways, understandable in a Vancouver market that lost to Grizzlies. Right. The Whitecaps are in trouble. I think that is the best way to put that. The hockey team is not good, and I think there's just fans are just angry about that in and of itself. But we kind of talked about this last week. I don't think that this is a terrible idea.
No. And yeah, the phrasing that I've seen at this point, this step where council has approved the proposal, to my understanding, that means they've approved that they can go ahead and search for an ownership group that would be in charge of putting together a bid to Major League Baseball. So that at this point, they're just searching for an ownership group, and I've seen in reports that the mayor has said that if it would get to the point where money would be discussed, that they're operating as if the hypothetical ownership group would foot the bill. They're not interested in public money, but we're far from that at this point. They've just agreed that they want to look for an ownership group. And yeah, we talked last episode about the initial reaction to it. And yeah, there seemed to be a lot of cynicism. And frankly, understand that completely and kind of agree that I think there's too many pitfalls. I don't think we're going to see this thing through to getting a team. But I also sensed a lot of anger from some people in the Vancouver market that this question was even raised. And I see where that comes from with a lot of the other sports troubles in Vancouver, current and past. But I personally don't see reason for anger. I mean, I'm a big time baseball guy. I'm a baseball proponent. I like that we're asking the question. I like that we're putting floaters out there. It means baseball is in a good spot. It means people are interested. Will the dream be completed? No, probably not. There's miles to go. But I wanted to bring up something that I saw. Mario Canseco of Research Co. on X tweeted that Research Co. did a survey of people in British Columbia, and it seems to indicate that people would be in support of the idea of a major league team in Vancouver. Results on his post on X, 83% favorable in the Fraser Valley, Southern BC 78, Metro Vancouver 72. The lowest region was Vancouver Island 64%. Is that, that's not, there's not a lot there to go on, except that it shows you that there's a lot of people that like the sport, that love the sport. So will we see a major league team in Vancouver ultimately? No, probably not, but I like that we're having the conversation. And as you sort of alluded to off the top of the show, there's a lot of other good baseball around Canada and in BC. And so for me, if this lifts the baseball cause even further than what the Blue Jays did going to the World Series last fall, that's a good thing. Turn that support on to your local teams, to your summer ball teams, to your minor league teams, your pro teams. Very, very, got on my soapbox a little bit there, but I'm happy it came up. It's got miles to go, but I think however this plays out, it's going to be a good thing for baseball.
Yeah, I think the discussion is worth having. We listened to our episode. We'll try to clip that out and get that specific episode out and kind of their pros and cons about the actual process, because there is a lot to unpack on that. I will read a couple of tweets though from Gabriel Morency as well, just from his perspective, and they were from yesterday or from Wednesday. This will hurt Montrealers a lot, but I wouldn't be shocked if Mitch Garber would be involved with baseball in Vancouver. He seems to have moved on from the Expos dream, and we did talk about the Expos dream, and owns a piece of the Seattle Kraken. And then he also says, my boy Jason B. Take F. Men used to be the GM of the Vancouver Canadians. He told me a few years ago, I'm meeting with groups who are looking into Vancouver ML team, and they have money. Here we are now. This is real, despite the negative Vancouver sports media types. So Yeah, again, I did, and as Kenson says in an article with Daily Hive, he must have been listening to the podcast. He didn't, Jonathan, because he said this did not come out of left field. So they've obviously have done their research. I think that people have not. I think where this is a bit of a disconnect in some ways is people in Vancouver haven't thought about it. The public has not thought about an MLB team. So it's not really top of mind for them. And they have. So they kind of are a little bit more ahead of the process, whether they're transparent. Again, you're right. Long way to go, but let's keep an eye on this. Let's keep an eye on this. I just one other thing. I think one other thought that I have before we move on this, and you kind of brought it up. The Toronto Blue Jays have done an absolutely fantastic job in terms of making this the Canada's baseball team, and not only because of what they've done on terms of the media market, what they've done to the baseball market in Canada. They have done a ton of support, not only in Eastern Canada, but in Western Canada as well. I just wonder, though, if having a second Canadian baseball team would be a benefit to baseball in Canada. I do think that would. I don't think that idea doesn't hurt anybody. I think there'll be some challenge. We've went through the challenges, but I don't think it hurts.
No, it doesn't hurt at all. And I think we did a pretty good job last time. Going through a lot of the reasons why we don't think it'll reach the finish line, but just like I said before, just the fact that we're having the conversation, the fact that the game in Canada is in a spot where we're having the conversation about it is a great thing. If it were to happen, as a baseball guy, that would be amazing. I'm a committed Blue Jays fan, partly because they're the only game that gets covered, all 162 up here, but also because I've had some connections to them, which means that I wouldn't hop off the train for a new Vancouver team and support and be a fan. Doesn't mean I wouldn't watch. I don't know. Yeah, I think we've covered our bases pretty good. I wanted to bring up
that angle into it doesn't. Because especially for the Western Canadian Baseball League, I would imagine having a Western team, would be a huge benefit to that. But anyway, we'll cross that road when we get there. Yeah. Let's start with the Mariners this week. They're an interesting week in Seattle land, in Mariners land. So for those who don't know, we talk Mariners, we talk Blue Jays, we'll talk about Canada. And I'll touch on some major league news as well. This is they had a series, 2 home series against division rivals, Texas Rangers. They did win the series over the Texas Rangers. Lost on Friday, but won Saturday and Sunday. Lost on Monday and Tuesday to the A's, and then won on Wednesday afternoon. What a walk-off by Josh Naylor, Cal Raleigh, and Julio Rodriguez. The good things this week is Cal Raleigh is finding his home run touch. He hit a home run in 3 straight games, one including from on Oppo Frigo from left. So that is that's good that he's getting his bat starting to click. Julio Rodriguez is on an 18-game on base streak. Did you know that Jonathan Shohei Ohtani had a 53-game on-base streak end last night, Wednesday night?
I don't know if I had heard that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, Julio is not hitting the ball hard. He's not hitting the ball out of the park. He is getting on base. That's a good. So we're still mid to late April though. So let's kind of it's Julio is a notorious slow starter. He will pick it up. And Josh Naylor is hitting the ball hard as well. He gets the winning RBI against the A's. He's hitting the ball hard. He's getting a lot better. He's starting to do it's the most unconventional way to steal a base, but Josh Naylor does steal bases. It's funny how he does it. But yeah. So that's Raleigh, Rodriguez, and Naylor are moving along and progressing. Randy Rosarena is as well. So the struggles is the bullpen, and we're especially not late, but the mid part of the bullpen. They did blow a 3-0 lead on Monday to the A's. They made some changes. They've recalled Alex Hopp. They designated Casey Legumina for assignment. So that is where they are at there in terms of making changes, and bullpen not great, but and Andres Munoz is trying to find his game as well this year. He's not been off to a great start, but the starting pitching continues to be the starting pitching. Even though Logan Gilbert kind of struggled against Oakland, like he's not getting through the 6th inning, but he's like on face value, you look at Logan Gilbert and his number, it doesn't look great. Like he's battling through batters, but he's still up there with some of the best pitchers in baseball in terms of innings pitched and velocity and hard hit balls. He's up there with Brian Wu in terms of those numbers. So his numbers are not, although it looks bad, it's not that bad. It's kind of, I put it in context. The controversy this week continues to be around platooning. Luke Raley and Rob Refsnyder specifically. Rob Refsnyder just hits left-handers. That's why they brought Rob Refsnyder in. He hits left-handers, but Luke Raley is in the top of this team's in terms of hit rate. And the challenge that people are feeling is, I think everybody understands the concept that Dan Wilson is running with. But I'll go back to the Padres game where they put in a left-hander, Adrian Warjon, who's one of the better left-handers in baseball. And that was in the 6th inning. So you have another run of batting, and then you got Luke Raley out of the game. You've got Rob Refsnyder in the game. Well, what's a manager going to do? We're going to find a right-hander named Mason Miller to throw at you. So that's where a lot of fans are a little bit frustrated or confused by what Dan Wilson's doing. I think a lot of fans are just kind of feel like Dan Wilson is being stubborn with his process. And on one hand, I kind of understand where the fans are coming from, because I think some people feel if they did something different, we would have been in the World Series last year. But I understand that Dan Wilson's being stubborn to the process. And Luke Raley just simply doesn't really hit left-handers all that well. So this is going to be something to fascinating to look at as we continue through the week or the season here. Other news, Brendan Donovan on the IL. He's been really good, but unfortunately, he's been battling some injuries since the start of the year. So Leo Rivas is playing third right now. They did select a contract and called up that third baseman named Will Wilson. As I mentioned, they called up Alex Hopp. They designated Casey Legumina for assignment. They put on Miles Mastrobuoni on the 60-day IL. Bryce Miller is not back yet. And Colt Emerson, I forgot to put this in the agenda. They didn't call Colt Emerson up this week when Brendan Donovan went on the IL because he's dealing with a wrist issue. So Colt Emerson is the guy that signed a big contract and is the Mariners' current top prospect. And So, and we are expecting to see Colt Emerson at some point this year. It's just not, he's dealing with a wrist issue. So, and they're on the road now. They face St. Louis on the weekend, and then they go off to Minnesota.
So there's, I'm hearing a couple of similarities with what's going on in Seattle to what's been happening in Toronto, and like the hot button controversy in Toronto this season dates back to Game 7 of the World Series. Jeff Hoffman giving up the home run to Rojas when they were out away from winning the World Series, and I feel like that something like that happens, and a fan base isn't gonna forget it, and I understandably, I guess, with the fan base. So that never really got dropped. The anxiety towards Jeff Hoffman, and
can I push back on Hoffman on this though? And I do understand the criticism towards Hoffman.
Yeah.
But I would argue that the reason that the Blue Jays lost Game 7 was base running.
I would agree with that.
Because there were several base running mistakes that happened, and a fantastic, and I know this hurts, but an absolutely incredible defensive play by Miguel Rojas for the double play.
I would agree with that in parts. Yes, there were base running moments that could have changed the game, but there were plays made by the Dodgers that changed it. There was a ball stuck in the outfield fence that changed the momentum of that inning. That was one of the most complex World Series that's ever been played, I feel like. There was Yamamoto going full-on cyborg for the entire series. I feel like, yes, there was a couple of different types of moments where the Blue Jays lost it, I guess. But there was a lot of moments where the Dodgers won it, and a couple of just really weird moments. Hoffman giving up the Rojas home run was one of those things that people latched onto, and funny enough, he gave up a home run on opening day, which did not help things. But then he went on a really good stretch, with striking out about half the batters he was facing, but then troubles reared their ugly head again on this road trip. And on the second to the last game in the Angels series, he couldn't complete the ninth inning. Was lifted with 2 outs for Louis Varland, who finished off the ninth inning for the save in the second game against the Angels to win that series. That seemed to, just kind of feeling the temperature around it, it seems like that might be the day where things started to change with how Schneider's going to approach the ninth inning. I think the reason why it hasn't happened sooner is I don't think they have anyone obvious to take over that. I mean, Louis Varland, by numbers, is probably that guy. But they seem to like throwing him whenever there's a fire, a make or break situation whenever it happens, 6th inning, 8th inning. So they like him. I think they like him to be their fireman. But we haven't seen another save situation to see how the next one is played. But overall, Blue Jays land is feeling a little bit better. A 4-5 road trip. Finished off by winning 2 of 3 against the Angels. The offense, which had been non-existent for the first couple of weeks, starting to get a little bit better, and it's starting to be driven by the support bats. Nathan Lucas, actually, when the team was in Arizona, he revealed that he had been dealing with vertigo since about the middle of spring training, which explains his 3 for 32 start at the plate. But the Blue Jays sent him for a battery of tests when they were in Arizona. And according to the Sportsnet TV crew, they updated or changed his meds, and doctors told him he's on the backside of it now, and he hit really well on the road trip. So that's an important depth bat to have back. Dalton Varsho has been hitting for power, which lengthens the lineup out. And a couple of guys that were brought in the depths of the injuries. Eloy Jimenez has come up from AAA and has kind of flashed that potent bat that people were salivating about when he was a prospect. He's hitting 400 in limited at-bats. Lenyn Sosa came in on a trade from Chicago with the White Sox, and he's got some pop in his bat, so that's been helping. George Springer might be coming back for this weekend series. I believe it's against Cleveland. Yep. So if they can get Springer back, there's your leadoff hitter with pop. He's been dealing with a broken toe though for a couple of weeks. So we'll see if he's able to come back. Pitching, Patrick Corbin's come in and been stable, which is kind of all they were looking for from him. Sounds like Trey Savage could be back the next turn in the rotation, but might also take one more turn in AAA after his AAA start didn't go as well as they hoped. He didn't reach his target pitch count. And there's a little bit of spice on the road trip too. Eric Lsuer has had a pretty dramatic early season. It's funny because he came back from, I believe he was, I can look this up as I'm talking, but I believe he was in Japan. He started in the majors and then went away for 3 years, I believe. And then the Blue Jays were the ones that brought him back to the major leagues. So he was this great feel-good story last year, filling in the rotation and then going back into a bullpen role last year, and he was great. And then he loses his arbitration case in the offseason, which players all say that the arbitration process is not fun at all. And then he wasn't pitching well in his first couple of starts. Reportedly, he got very sick, which is part of it. But 2 starts ago now, they put an opener in front of him, and then he still doesn't pitch well. And in the media, his post-game media, he says that he hates pitching behind an opener, that it messes with his routine and his preparation, and then he finished by saying, but how they pitch me is above my pay grade. John Schneider, manager, responded to that in the media and says that the decision how we use him is definitely above his pay grade. So that was a little bit of a... You haven't seen much of that from John Schneider with the Blue Jays, talking back at his players through the media. But I think it was right. I don't. It's been that's been interesting to see from him. With Trey Savage coming back soon, I would imagine Eric Lsuer is the one to get bumped out of the rotation. So that's been a little bit of controversy there. Some good stuff. Andres Jimenez has had a really good bat early so far. 267, 3 home runs, 12 RBIs, leads the team still. He didn't do much offensively last year, but he had one season in Cleveland where he had a really good offensive season. So a little bit of a step forward from him offensively can make the lineup deeper. But the big move for Jimenez this year was shifting him over to short, and it's come out that the Blue Jays told Andres Jimenez in November to prepare to be the shortstop this season. So that would make it sound like even if they were pursuing Bo Bichette, he would have come back as the second baseman. So as it fell, it made Jimenez the shortstop and Ernie Clement the second baseman, and they are really good up the middle. So that's been a huge positive, as their middle infield defense has been really good. And they get back home for the next week or so. They have a series this weekend against Cleveland, and then finally their first divisional series coming up to begin next week when Boston goes to Toronto.
I have a question about Eric Lsuer.
Yep.
I understand where Schneider's coming from, but I just want some clarity here, because is he saying he doesn't like? I don't think he's not saying he doesn't like pitching from the bullpen. It sounds like he doesn't like pitching behind the opener.
Correct.
Okay, so I kind of understand where Schneider's coming from. I don't know if this is as controversial as people are making it out to be. I hate the opener. I detest it. That's one of my least favorite things. Like, I have been a guy that has believed that the starter should go 6 or 7 innings if at all possible.
Yeah.
That's my belief. I believe that that's one of the ways you win baseball games.
Yeah, in this case, I mean, the move itself is not controversial. It just became a thing when Lsuer said in the media that I hate pitching behind an opener. I'm kind of in the same on the concept. I'm kind of in the same camp you are. I don't like it as a fan of the game. I think generally it's done to keep the starter or what becomes a bulk pitcher away from the top third of the order one time. But if you don't, in my mind, if you don't trust the starting pitcher to face the top third of the order in the first inning, what's he doing in your rotation?
Yeah.
And
yeah. I agree.
I've done a really good job, and it's not an effort most times. Like, genuinely, I do like a lot of the changes with modern baseball today that have gone away from purist views. But man, I miss the marquee starting pitching matchup.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up as a kid. Like, I grew up on Roy Doc Halladay throwing every fifth day. Like, and that's kind of related that it the opener kind of does away with with the traditional starting pitching matchup. But yeah.
Yeah, it's like it, yeah, I mean, I remember some great pitching like you I mean, Roger Clemens comes to mind, Felix Hernandez, Randy Johnson, um, like some of those big names just they were so intimidating in front and like they fired I mean Nolan Ryan. I mean, just remember like for those like I just I mean, and he threw 140 pitches and was like, I'm still going out there. Steve Rogers with the Expos. I mean, the Pedro Martinez, Dennis Martinez tossed a perfect game. Like that Expos pitching staff back in the year of the lockout, the year of the lockout, that was a phenomenal pitching staff. Like it was like that was one of the best pitching staffs that have never won a World Series. I mean, even like I'm still like there's some things that like I think it's time that we moved on from and like some of it and there's some things I still want to get I want to get rid of the intentional walk. I want to get absolutely rid of it. I don't know how I'm going to do it because I think it's impossible for me to ever have that. But I one of my least favorite things, but I totally understand why they do it. But I'm a big believer. Your starters should go 6 innings, 5 6 innings. Then none of this opener stuff. But and yeah, 5 6 7 innings, and then give it to your bullpen. But
And I'll just because it triggers something in my brain, and I won't really get into specifics because I don't want to spoil anything. But in the most general terms, it's a lot of things are done because the spreadsheet says to do it. And getting starting pitchers off of the first inning uh, makes, the most mathematical sense, is, I guess, why they're doing it. But something, just a theme that I really enjoyed from the Jeff Passan podcast with Schneider and Roberts was Roberts got into a lot of the big decisions that he made that everybody remembers. And he talked a lot about, yes, we have our analytics process, but when it comes down to moments, he trusts his people. And that thrilled me hearing him talk like that. Is yes, data can inform decisions and make decisions more accurate. I'm not against it, but I love it when I hear a manager who's willing to say numbers say this, but in this moment I'm going to trust my people, and I'm going to be able to sleep well knowing that I trusted my people. And for the Dodgers, it ultimately worked out.
yeah, the two things that pay triggering me. Do you remember back in it was 2020? That was a horrible year, but that World Series, Blake Snell went 5 innings, and he was dominating the Dodgers,
Yep.
and they took him out, and they lost again. And and it was fascinating when you talked about that. It made me think about that because the analytics said to take Blake Snell out, but the human part of everybody in baseball was like that was the wrong decision because it was a one hitter, I believe, at the time he had, and they took him out of like way too early, and they couldn't and they just couldn't get back to they couldn't get the game back. And
Yep.
that's the part I and you like I'm one of the things that I got one of the things that I think the Blue Jay fans have missed about the whole conversation around the Dodgers for me has been really fascinating because everybody's like, well, they spend money, they spend money, they spend money. We're about to talk about a team that has spent money has gone absolutely nowhere. Miguel, and I'm sure that Dave Roberts will talk about this. So I know I'm going to assume that he's going to talk about this in the Jeff Passan podcast. Don't count out what Miguel Rojas has meant for that Dodgers team. He has been like, he's just part of the core of that, he's like the conscience of the Dodgers, right? Like he's just like, it's fitting he gets the home run. It's fitting he gets the double play. It's like, he's just, it's the human part of baseball that makes it so different. And I think even to make this, I think to bring this to the Mariners part on 2 levels, I think that this is part of the charm and the love of Cal Raleigh is he's how human he is. Like he just comes across like a real genuine, like when they won the pennant last year, we're going to win. We might as well win the effing World Series. Like it just felt so genuine. And I think on the other end, what a lot of people are frustrated right now in Mariners land is the platoon part is just, it feels like Dan Wilson is using data, not human heart to make decisions. And like, yeah, baseball is one of the most analytical driven sports out there, but it's still about humans pitching a baseball and swinging a bat and catching the ball. That's what it all comes down to.
Amen.
Yeah. Let's I'll just touch on a few things going on in Major League Baseball. The Mets, which is speaking of teams that spent money, just completed a 12-game losing streak. They are actually behind the Washington Nationals in the standings. Oh, one other thing before we get there, I got to talk about this. I totally forgot about this, but this was the play of the week. I don't know if you saw Logan Gilbert's against the A's on Wednesday.
Yes.
That was something else. So for those who missed it, the ball actually went into his shirt. But the amazing thing is, you would think that would be an out. It is not.
Right.
By rule, that is a base hit.
Yep.
That was the most amazing thing. I was like, what? That's a base hit.
See, I understand that line of thinking. But there's a couple other different types of plays where it's the same thing and it kind of makes sense. I've seen it before where a catcher behind the plate will take off his mask and use his mask to trap the baseball. And you're not allowed to do that. And also fielders can't catch a fly ball in their hat.
Yes,
so
that's true.
You need to use your glove to complete a catch. So in that way, especially since we've seen the catchers trapping the ball with their mask behind the plate before, in that way it makes sense. If catchers can't use equipment to hold or trap a baseball, then pitchers probably shouldn't be able to catch baseballs in between the buttons of their jerseys. It was kind of weird. The baseball never hit the ground, and he picked it out of his jersey with his hand. But if you can't use a a mask or a hat, you can't use the jersey.
Yeah, there you go. Now that was a controversy in the World Series of Game 7, and you kind of touched on that with the ball getting stuck in the underneath the fence.
Oh, yes, the lodge. Yeah, that didn't. Yeah, when the ball got stuck in the left field fence, that didn't directly change anything, but I still maintain, and we're just going to go back to that human theme. Watching that as a fan, off the bat, that was like the feeling, and I think the feeling in the building probably was, here they come. They're going to do this. And then the ball gets stuck, and it's a huh. And
What's
then,
brilliant by the Dodgers left fielder, though, because I can't remember who it was, that just put his hands up and
yeah,
said, "Stop."
yep. It just changed the whole focus of everybody, and just it stopped. Felt like it stopped the momentum, even though it factually didn't lose them anything. I don't know. I don't want to go too far down that because I'll get triggered again, and we don't want to do that.
I'm sorry. Well, before we get into the Mets, the other thing, the Mariners are currently 11-15. They are 2.5 out of first place, which is Texas. The Blue Jays are 10-14. They are 5.5 behind the Yankees, who just feasted on the Red Sox this week, which I think a lot of teams are going to be doing, Jonathan, quite frankly. The wild card wise, the top three are Tampa, Detroit, and the Athletics. The Mariners and the Blue Jays are 2.5 back. As I mentioned, though, the New York Mets had a 12-game losing streak where Juan Soto apparently didn't, when he was injured, decided to not speak to the team. And now Francisco Lindor is out for a while. I think Mendoza said they're not sure when he's coming back. But the Philadelphia Phillies this is quite stunning how bad they are. They've got now the longest losing streak. The Chicago Cubs, by the way, have the longest winning streak. They've won 9 in a row. The Phillies are 8-17. They have the worst record in baseball. They've lost 9 in a row. Do they have the worst record? Yes, they have worse. They're worse than the Rockies. And yeah, the Kansas City, them in Kansas City are 8-17. But I mean, I think Kansas City, I think some people are, the Phillies being where they are right now is quite stunning to a lot of people, considering that pitching staff, considering the money that they've spent. That is quite a stunner. But that's kind of what's going on here. I mean, you got Blue Jays facing Cleveland, who are tied for first with Detroit, and the Cardinals are not doing too bad either. 14-10 to start the year. So. And the Dodgers are actually in a fight with the San Diego Padres for the National League West. The Padres are hot right now. Both of those teams are 17-8. The only two teams that feel like they're kind of running away are the Braves, which are, I think the Braves are probably, if I was to power rank right now, I think the Braves are the best team in baseball. And the Yankees are off to a good start. But I feel like the Yankees are going to be up and down I still, like, when I look at the AL East, I kind of feel, other than Boston, I still feel that this is a race.
Yeah.
I just don't, I don't trust the Yankees. I don't.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to trust the Yankees. I mean, they can hit a lot of home runs, but last year's team was fun. Couldn't play fundamental baseball very well when the pressure was on. So, yeah, it's still hard to trust the Yankees. The Rays are just somehow always there. Because they seem to grow pitching, even though they don't keep it when it's time to pay them. Baltimore has some some intriguing bats, and they did try to address their pitching in the offseason, so they might hang around. The only one that doesn't look good in that division is Boston. The one thing that kind of caught my eye was the NL Central is crazy right now.
Yeah.
All 5 teams are last place is Milwaukee at 13-11. Chicago with their 9-game heater, they are now tied for first with the Reds at 16-9. I think for me, the most surprising one in that mix is St. Louis at 14-10. I didn't figure they would be that strong, but the NL Central, it's kind of a division where everybody has something about them that makes you say, yeah, that makes sense that they're good. But there's no real behemoth in that division, so it'll be interesting to watch. Could be, it could end up being one of those divisions where most or everybody has a good year, but the winner doesn't end up, winning 95, 97 games. It could be a division where the winner has 89, and everybody is pretty close.
Yeah. My understanding of what the Cardinals were going to do this year was rebuild, and they're not off to. So I wonder if they end up fading. Cincinnati's a pretty good team. I mean, Pittsburgh, you got Paul Skeens. Milwaukee is always there, and the Cubs just the Cubs are the Cubs, right? They'll always be there too. It's the Cubs and Dodgers play this weekend, by the way. If you are interested in any other baseball other than Mariners Blue Jays, that should be absolutely fascinating as well. But yeah, that's what's going on in major leagues. What's going on in Canada, Jonathan?
Yeah, just some quick hitters here. We won't keep people too much longer, but I just kind of wanted to whip around a few different things with Canadians or Canadian teams or Canadian ties, because there's a bunch of interesting stuff going on. The biggest name was an interesting bit of news dropped this week with former Major League All-Star Yasiel Puig reportedly signing in the Canadian Baseball League with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And that is, for those who might not follow it specifically, the Canadian Baseball League is a professional independent league in Ontario, and it's historically been known as the Intercounty Baseball League as a league it was a mix of recently retired college players, recently released professional players, mixed with a few college players. But this season is the first season they've gone full professional, and that is definitely going to drive some eyeballs to the Canadian Baseball League, if indeed this gets to the finish line with Yasiel Puig. But I was also seeing a report earlier today that he's involved in a legal case which is not resolved. So the outcome of that could affect things here. So that's interesting. And this one I really enjoyed seeing. The Ottawa Titans of the Frontier League, MLB Partner League, they posted on X on Wednesday that they're less than 1,500 away from selling out their home opener in early May. The Ottawa Titans play at Ottawa Stadium, which is the former home of the AAA Ottawa Lynx. And I actually asked the Titans X account when the last time was that their stadium was sold out, and they said 2002.
Oh, wow.
That is when the Lynx were affiliated AAA with the Montreal Expos. And stadium capacity in Ottawa listed at just over 10,300. So that's really impressive to see a partner league team approaching 10,000, and that would be a really cool scene to see Ottawa Stadium sold out for the first time since the Lynx. Yeah, another sign of the high that baseball in Canada is riding right now. So that'll be fun, and we'll follow up on that in a couple of weeks when they play that game, see if they get their sellout. And a couple of prospect notes, Canadian prospect notes this week. This one happened on Wednesday. Eric Hartman, he's an outfielder in the Braves system. He's their number 20 ranked prospect, and was drafted in the 20th round in 24. He went in a game for High A Rome. He went 5 for 5 with 3 home runs and a walk. A lot to chew on there. The 3 home runs, of course, the biggest thing. But I also saw this post from MLB Pipeline on X. Teenagers, he hasn't yet turned 20. Teenagers who've gone 5 for 5 with a walk in a game at High A or above since 2005. In 2012, Oscar Taveras did it in the Cardinals system. 2016, Rafael Devers did it for the Red Sox. 23, Jackson Holliday did it. And in 2026, Eric Hartman does it.
Wow.
He was a 20th round pick a couple years ago. And he's got some big buzz around him. He hit another home run today. He's got 7 home runs and 4 walks this season. He is one to keep a close eye on. He was developed in the Okotoks Dogs Academy in Alberta. He's originally from St. Albert, Alberta. And somebody that came through the same system that Canadian fans are probably aware of now, Matt Tugboat Wilkinson, who pitched very well for Canada at the World Baseball Classic, started a team no-hitter for AA Akron in the Guardian system. He pitched the first 5 innings with 6 strikeouts as they went on to complete the team no-hitter. And Tugboat came up through the same Okotoks Academy system, and both players had time with the Dogs Western Canadian Baseball League team. Wilkinson pitched for the big team there for a couple of years, and Hartman was called up from the academy to play for the WCBL team during the playoff run there. So Canadian prospects doing some big things, and in Hartman's case, some historic things. So that was fun to see.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to give a congratulations to a pal, Graham Mosman, is calling play-by-play for the Western WCBL, and make sure I get the name right before I say this, but some people call that Fort McMoney. Let's see here. Let me see. I got this right. It is the Fort McMurray Giants play-by-play announcer. So it's good for him. We are gonna kind of we'll be diving into WCBL things as we continue on with this. But anything else we do need to talk about?
Um, I I think we're pretty good, but yeah, I just wanted to, yeah, just kind of a theme we've been talking about the last couple of episodes, or ever since we relaunched a few weeks ago, was kind of the high that Canadian baseball is on right now as a whole. And you and I were just kind of realizing that uh, there's a lot of really cool things going on throughout the Canadian baseball landscape, and that doesn't just include the Blue Jays or the folks in BC that follow the Mariners. Um, there's teams at a lot of different levels that have big followings, that have really high level baseball, that are turning out prospects. The prospect content in the minor leagues from Canadians has probably never been better. There's a huge number of Canadians in the majors. I think we were kind of chatting about it, and I think we're going to do our best to shine a spotlight on uh, the entirety of Canadian baseball, whether it be young talent or clubs in the country or leagues. So that's something I'm really excited about.
Yeah, and one of the I yeah, and I'm excited about that because I think everybody. I think that I know that Canada is a hockey market in general, or we have it's a dominant conversation, but I think that there's other things going on, and I think it's great to bring that up. I think in this current era of journalism and broadcast, unfortunately, the really little guy is getting smothered in terms of the news, and I think it's important to bring that up.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah. So we'll focus on that. We're going to bring in some guests and we'll talk about that a little bit more. But let's leave it here. How do we follow you and us again?
Okay, so me personally, I'm on X at Haji Speaks, and our podcast page on X, we're the Out of Left Field podcast. The handle is at Outa LF Pod, OUTTALFPOD. And we have a Facebook page, is Out of Left Field. And on both of those pages is where we will be dropping our episodes and posting other sorts of content to engage followers. So yeah, follow us on X, like us on Facebook, and we'll do our best to keep growing and improving our content on there, and fun to see where we can take our shows.
Yes, please like us. Please subscribe. Please retweet. Please do all of those things. I am KEVOLE on social media. So follow me there if you don't. And we thank you all for watching and or listening. And we will talk to you all very soon. Bye for now. Already, yes.